Yeah, I'm Lucy Suchman. I'm a professor emerita of the Anthropology of Science and Technology at Lancaster University in the UK. And I have a very long-standing, I would say, critical engagement with AI, going back to the late 1970s, early 1980s, when I began as a PhD student at Xerox Palo Alto Research Center. And my current work is at the intersection of anthropology and also the interdisciplinary field of science and technology studies, or STS. I arrived at Xerox PARC in 1979 and was there as I initially was a research intern, and then I ended up working at Xerox PARC for 20 years, basically from 1980 to 2000. And during that time, of course, the field of AI was when I first encountered it in the 80s. It was very much the knowledge-based or expert systems approach, and my colleagues, meanwhile, were had the idea of Richard Fikes, Austin Henderson, the idea of developing an expert system that would be a coach for people in the use of a particularly gnarly photocopier that Xerox had just put out on the market. And so I ended up doing a very close study of people's attempts to use this machine with the assistance of this expert system. So I realized that the machine was engaging in this interaction as if through this tiny, tiny pinhole that was just that subset of the things that the people involved were doing that actually changed its state. So that was a real revelation to me, and it's kind of became the basis of an argument which I think still holds about the tremendous asymmetry, let's say differences and asymmetries in the way that machines have access to our worlds, and the way that we, as humans, not only have access to those worlds, but are sort of actively involved in making those worlds as we go along. I would say, even though the approaches now to the design of conversational machines, chatbots, have changed tremendously, and we could talk more about that, that basic problem of the difference between our access to relevant worlds and the computational machine access to relevant worlds, I would say that still holds. That's still at the core of the problem. I've seen, of course, we've all seen this really quite radical change, the move away from expert systems, from logic-based, rule-based systems toward data-driven systems, computationally, statistically data-driven systems, which in many ways is a very radical change. But I'm also really struck that I really haven't seen things get any closer to the solution to this problem of human-machine communication that I set out. Chatbots have zero knowledge or understanding of any of the reference of the tokens, the words translated as tokens that they're manipulating. For us, words are absolutely integrally tied to their reference in the world, to their consequences for the activities that we're collectively engaged with. And for large language models and chatbots, of course, their world is made up of tokens. And that is a radical difference, and I think a difference that really matters.